Welcome back to Morning Live, and we want to dwell on matters disaster. And in studio, I'm joined by Hesbon Odhiambo from the Kenyan Red Cross Society, is from the Disaster Operation Department. And preparedness is very important. And in any day, if these guys have seen everything, now we just want to talk about preparedness and the aspect of just getting ready, because it never announces itself. It comes from anywhere. Hesbon, good morning.
Morning.
Good job you're doing, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Now, when you talk about disaster preparedness, there's also the angle of just trying to be patient in so many things, but you never know when it strikes.
No.
So, or when you talk about even the calamities, all those things we're having in this country, from floods, from so many, even accidents. Yeah. So, how do you strategically just place yourself mentally to face all these things?
Well, Nick, let me start from the context, our urban setup.
Okay.
Disaster preparedness goes a long way.
Okay.
And from our department, if I go lower, there's something we call Red Cross action teams.
Okay.
So the department is very huge, and there's so many people. But for Red Cross action teams, are the ones who are more or less the first responders in the ground. And that's where I come from, as in I'm the tactical leader for the teams that go, the ones that go to the scene first.
Sure.
We support each other with E+ ambulances. So it's a state of mind. First of all, you need to prepare by properly training with a recognized institution.
Okay.
One, where I started from was training in first aid, and then training as an EMT, what we call here paramedic.
Yeah.
Coming up to training in other angles, that is, we call it wilderness search and rescue, urban search and rescue. So once you get all these things, they come with different tactics or techniques to be able to apply when you're responding to a disaster. So it's the strength to be able to take a step back and picture the whole thing before you reach the scene.
Yes.
So that when you reach the scene, then it does not like frighten you or get you scared or take you aback. So what you do is, once you've pictured it, you know it's a building collapse. What are you looking at? You're looking at so many angles. What time of day is it? Is it at night? You're very scared that at this point it's going to be, maybe we might have more fatalities or more injuries. And you start preparing yourself. If it's a person in the ambulance, they prepare for casualties, knowing that this number of casualties are going to be there, so it's working fast. If it's a different tactical person, where now we are the ones who stay back to manage the scene, I'm looking at a big crowd, I'm looking at darkness, I'm looking at a lot of danger. So as an instant commander, we call it instant command system, you come and you kind of set the ground for the other teams to come in. And then you prepare yourself again psychologically to be able to work with other agencies. Keeping in mind that you also need to understand how other agencies operate. So it's a long way, but it all starts with a state of mind. So this means that, one, you cannot go into an incident scene while you're under influence. You cannot go on an incident scene if you're scared or you really have fear in you. A lot is going to happen.
Amazing. Now, when you talk about preparedness, there's this angle also where you don't know what will happen next. You know, we're used to living life seamlessly. We don't know what's coming up next. You know, accidents, just things happening. And you've just mentioned a building collapse. You can never know what's happening next. Now, preparedness in terms of contacts, in terms of now just be aware. Maybe, you know, sometimes we take for granted the emergency exit doors. All those things. They kind of just here for formality and everything, for safety formalities. Now, for example, fire assembly point. They're just there for formality, safety, building, whatever, so that maybe you can pass through some checks. Looking at all these things, what's your perspective? Because myself, I'm a victim, because when I see, do not, in case of fire, do not use the elevators. But you know, in your mind, you just rush, press the elevator. What do you think about now sensitization and making guys aware of all these things?
Right, Nick, you're very, very right. And personally, as an emergency responder and instant commander in various incidences, this has been a worrying trend for us. But Kenyans have been doing well in terms of sensitization. The government has taken quite a bit of sensitizing people about having safety as the first priority in a building, based on some of the incidences that have happened within our setup in Nairobi. And one thing is, I would like to tell any single person, don't look at the institution, look at yourself. Safety begins with you. First thing is situational awareness. I'll give you a scenario. One day, even this evening, if let's say you use a matatu home, walk into the matatu while we're waiting for it to get full. Just observe everyone. Everyone will be on the phone like this.
Yeah, it's true.
So no one
Very
will look
true.
at you to
Very
see
true.
what you're doing, or what kind of, or even just mark something up.
Yeah, yeah,
If you enter a building, the first thing they should be looking at is evacuation.
yeah,
Can you notice exit routes? Let's say if you're going to an elevator, do you have something like a floor plan?
yeah.
Do you have evacuation points that have been indicated clearly? Do you have emergency numbers that have been shown clearly that this is what the number to call, this is the person to call? Look at the guards. Are they easy? Are they relaxed? What lapses are you seeing there?
Yeah.
If you have this on your own, when something happens, definitely you'll be alert.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what will happen, or if something happens and you don't know where to go to, you'll definitely get confused.
It's true.
And you end up running towards the danger. And that one causes a lot of casualties. So the first thing that I would like to tell people is, first of all, understand what are all these things.
Yeah.
What are evacuation procedures? Number two, identify things like alarm systems.
Yeah.
When the alarm goes off, don't say, hiyo ni alarm ya kawaida.
Yeah, yeah.
If you hear an alarm, there's no time for asking questions.
Yeah, sure.
Move towards the exact evacuation places. And then another thing is understand what a fire assembly point means. If you look at a fire assembly point and you see it's also next to a place, for example, there's a fire and there's a fire assembly point sign somewhere, and then next to it there's a vehicle, and again, you know, cars, maybe it's a petrol vehicle.
Yeah, sure.
So you want to go and stand there? No.
Yeah.
Look for alternatives.
Yeah.
What do I do next? So it starts with me.
It's true.
For us to take that step of going into, one, institutions that are training, two, recognized institutions, not any institution.
Yeah.
Get certified, basic training on things like first aid, basic fire, where you can also use a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
I was once, some time back, I was somewhere in Eldoret in a hotel, and then at night I had things banging and I was wondering what's happening. When I woke up, there was smoke all over. So I got out, did a small assessment, what's happening. Again, you don't carry anything.
Yeah.
Move as you are.
Move as you are.
Found this guy, he's using a fire extinguisher the wrong way.
Wow.
And there's no time to educate him at that point.
Yeah, it's
the best
an
thing is to
emergency,
evacuate everyone and get out. We called back the fire brigade, they came, and then the fire was put out.
Okay.
So if you do not know what to do, you'll be doing something but doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might end up causing more harm.
It's true. It's true.
So I'll go back to it again. It starts with me. By the way, are you trained in first aid?
Anyway, we'll go to that. Now, looking at the drills, you know,
Yes.
we have organizations that they'll make the staff aware
Right.
of there'll be a drill at 10 a.m.
Yes.
I don't think that should be the case. A drill should become like unawares, so that at least you assess the behavior
Yeah.
of some people. Now, but is it wise? Maybe you're the one actually deep into the real thing.
No. Because say we're having a building, a 4-story building.
Yeah.
And people don't know. In that 4-story building, there's a medical center.
Okay.
Or say a reproductive center.
Okay.
Just to say. Then in there, there's someone who's probably some lady who's maybe expectant. So you do this drill. She gets panic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
So everyone is running around. There's a stampede. People fall. So what do you want to see? You want to see people falling and then say what after you've had injury?
Yeah.
So what we say is drills are supposed to be informed. But what you're testing is the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before the drill, you're supposed to have 2 to 3 weeks or 2 weeks notice,
Yeah.
awareness sessions, if you have fire marshals. And even before that, there's supposed to be something called a test, whereby maybe the county government officials will come in and check your safety measures. What are your safety aspects within the building? What exactly is happening? I mean, are your doors safe? So when you have all these things in place, then you can test the system.
Yeah, sure.
Look at the documents that you have in terms of disaster preparedness, emergency response plans in that institution. Then you act according to that document, which informs the system.
It's true.
So what you're testing is not the people, you're testing the system.
The system.
The system the system is the people within it. So you'll have fire marshals, you'll have first aiders, you have all this, you'll have security guards, then you observe, and you have observers from different agencies, including the government itself. And when you finish, they can be able to certify and say this building is safe.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has to have the right equipment. This is all part of preparedness, by the way,
Okay.
from self to the structure to the equipment. So you might have a good structure, good people, but the equipment is bogus.
Yeah, it's true.
The drill fails.
You're very right.
You're not safe. So if you have all these things in place, proper trained people, a good building that has been inspected, you have proper equipment and proper documentation, then test the system. When you test the system, by the time you're doing the drill, people know what to do. You don't want to scare people.
Yeah.
We want to create awareness and teach people on how to respond to this thing. So when the time comes and you're not there, they're not in that scenario, they'll come to you. Maybe they'll come to this place, and then there's going to be, maybe there's an incident, they'll know exactly what to do.
Okay.
Even if they're in Nakumatt, in Dubai,
Yeah.
because some of these systems are universal. Yeah.
Now, as a rescuer, and of course you are first responders in this case, do you have the opportunity always to get maybe a building plan, like this is where we can now go through, this is where we can now live from? How do you manage to now coordinate with the guys who now maybe are responsible or for the construction of the building, from maybe the architects and all these people involved? Do you manage to get a plan or something just to make sure indeed we know how the building is constructed, we know where the fire extinguisher are, we know where the what is it called? There's a huge pipe actually, like
the hose reel.
The hose reel actually. You know where it is. How do you manage to do this now?
And that's where I was telling you before, Nick, that this is also part of preparedness.
Yeah.
When nothing is happening like now, we're not supposed to sit back and just wait.
Sure.
We have a circle of stakeholders or people around us. Okay? When you have a circle of people around you, you map out the people around where you're working. And then you create contact with them. If they're all responders, for example, like now we have, let's say, fire brigade, we have the police, we have what? You get? Just now when I was coming, one of the policemen somewhere in Nyayo Stadium stopped me and asked me, by the way, I used to have someone's number from the ambulance services. I used to call her whenever there's an emergency, but I lost it. I need that number. I've seen a Red Cross vehicle, but I want to. I just want that number. I gave the number. He told me, don't leave until I call. Then he called the number. When he called E+, the person at E+, called, and then they said, I got your number, I'm sorry. From now, we are going to be communicating more. What are you creating? Network. When you're creating network, when you're having things like training, for example, if it's within the discipline forces, let's say it's police or what, if we are involved as a society, like Red Cross, we go and maybe have agreements with them and teach on things like first aid. And then when we come to the ground, it's not like he will not know what I want to do. He knows my objectives. So he will come and say, Red Cross, you're here? Yes. Medical team, that angle. Tactical team or search and rescue team, this angle. They already know that there's a small team that has been trained on search and rescue. So at least we know that what to do. Importantly also for us, or for me as a responder, before I get to that response, it's important for me to do some research on this other person who I'm going to be responding with, to understand how they work, so that we don't step on toes when you're responding. So at least by the time you're there, someone will say, oh, so and so you're here. We met at that time during a training, but now we are meeting again during a response. Your working relations becomes very, very easy, and everyone knows what they're supposed to do. And if you're going wrong somewhere, they'll say, take a stop, let's brief, let's change the techniques. And so it's part of preparedness. So when things are calm, let's talk to our stakeholders that are working around us, those that we work with. Let's talk to our fellow responders, get to understand if they have other new emergency numbers, emergency lines, are they operational, test them if it's possible. Let them come into your circle and understand what you do. Because like now, for example, you have a new package of training. Then you try as much as possible to disseminate the same to other people. And this is how we work together with people during emergencies. So every single time you're always going to do the same.
Now, we've also seen in some slums across the country, let me take an example, Mukuru, you've put some sensors whereby in case of fire, it now directly emits the signals to either EMS or the dispatch team, so that at least you can go all the way now. But still, when you look at the routes inside these areas, it's so hard to access. What's being done just to make sure indeed these guys can be receptive to either firefighters, ambulances? Has there maybe anything being done about that?
Well, Nick, the project on fire sensors was a bit, it was good. It went well, and it was a pilot program. That we did in informal settlements, just to be able to place some sensors within the informal settlement. But there was a lot of also, there's some challenges to it. Of course, anything that comes in news has to have a bit of challenges. You pilot it, you check, and then now you come and work around it. So it's been a work in progress also for us.
But it will be there?
I'm not sure yet. I can't speak for the project officer because I wasn't quite there. But what we have in place that is very, very concrete is what we call community-based disaster response teams. We, as Kenya Red Cross, have trained people in the ground because, again, as much as I'm a first responder, something happens at 2 a.m. in the morning. Who gets to be the first responder?
It's true.
The person who's there.
Around.
So it's important to get some strength inside the community. So we trained community-based disaster responders. We did this back in 2009 after some very major fires that have been occurring. These guys have been able to, they understand the community better and they know which angles and which routes to follow. However, there's still some challenges about how structures have been placed, how roads have been placed, how people build on roads. But through Fire Safety Weeks, what we have in the month of August, September, we normally have a joint activity that goes for a whole week. And this one I must really appreciate. The government has done quite a lot to support this. Being able to go and create awareness to different communities based on the number of fires that have been happening. And we try as much as possible to sensitize them on what to do. Don't go and build a house here, don't put a hotel here, don't do this. Again, other partners like Kenya Power have also come in to be able to sensitize, don't do illegal electric connections. If you go around Mukuru now, they even have small transformers that are, they're even now paying some money for it. It goes a long way, even up to floods. If you go to Mukuru Nyayo right now, you'll see some buildings that are now stone instead of iron sheets. But they're trying their level best to create those roads. And through the local administration, they've been really sensitizing quite a lot. If you look at the past week, there's been a lot of drainage opening and things like that. Of course, the county government, the national government is part of it 100%. So this is what is happening. The challenges are there, we can't see. What also has really improved, and this has helped us also in creating roads all the way from town, response time has reduced. If you look at the few fires that have come the past week or two,
like take an example of the Malik Heights. What happened on Gong Road? How was the response? Maybe that
the response was really good. The only problem was, of course, when there's change, there was also bound to be a bit of challenges. The only problem was now.
Maybe how did you manage to sort that issue out?
For us, as part of developing teams, we already have teams within that vicinity, so I don't have to come all the way from South Sea or from.
So always placed strategically.
So there's a team in Kibra. The team in Kibra responded. They took charge. We trust them. It's the trainings that we've given them, and they took charge. For them, it's basically casualties because when you're in a scene, we are not firefighters. So the firefighters come, they do their job, they finish, they bring us the casualties from danger. Then we do the triaging, transport if possible. If there are no casualties, we just be on standby because even the firefighters themselves can be casualties, you know. So we just create a small triage point and on standby and we wait. The only accessibility was the problem there, but it's because of the construction of the road, which is a good thing.
Yes, there was expansion actually.
Expansion, and that is really, really, really good for response.
Now, finally, as you're winding up this conversation, what can you tell us about now the dispatch, the timings? Because of course, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you have to really deal with road users sometimes. But the time you take that distance to go, or maybe the route to go to the affected area, how is the response, the public response towards ambulances? You know, give way. You know, that's the basics of driving school. The vehicles you need to give way in case of anything. Like, how is the response? What do you think about all this?
I think this is my personal opinion that if you bring a plastic cup and probably have one with water, another one without water, which one has more value? So what happens is it's the way you carry yourself even around people as an individual and as an agency. You create value for life, value for this.
Yes, true.
Many agencies have come in. We have been so good with whatever we are doing. People have been learning how to respond well. And again, it goes back to the individual, that person who's driving you. Do you respect any ambulance? When you see an ambulance, do you want to ask, is this ambulance carrying a legit patient or what? The fact that it's an ambulance, give way, because it might be going to your house.
Yes, true that.
That's scary. So give way, but don't just stop. So it normally is, it's a sequence. You know, we normally have the golden hour rule as responders, and this one again we like to disseminate to people that when we get that call, the faster we get the call, the faster we can reach there, and the faster we can save that person. So what happens is when that call comes into dispatch or emergency operations center, they give different angles. There's one that the ambulance will go. There's one that only first aiders will go. There's one that will call for the whole team.
Yes. Hesbon, I really appreciate for your time. A good job you're doing. Continue the spirit. I understand. Counseling, you guys are counseled well, everything?
Yes,
I understand.
definitely.
That's actually very important. Thank you so much for coming. And I wish you all the best and good job you're doing.
And by the way, register. One of our branches, we have 4 branches within Nairobi. We have 64 branches within the country.
Wow,
We also request the young people to make sure they pay a visit to one of the branches and register as a member. We have ordinary membership that is 1,000 shillings. We have life membership that is 5,000, and student membership that is 500. So
good job.
If you're there, you can be able to be part of Red Cross.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. That's all I had for you right here on Morning Live. My name is Nick Mudimba. Joyce Omondi Wehiga is coming up next with Full Circle. Stay tuned to Switch TV.